I can't believe this has happened, and I am still reeling, so I had to share with someone. I, Sam 32, walked up to my girlfriend's F29, Haley's apartment with a warm bowl of soup in hand, thinking I could comfort her. She'd called earlier saying she wasn't feeling well, that she needed to rest. She'd seemed off on the phone, distant, but I figured she was just tired. I knew how much she hated being sick. When she didn't answer my texts or pick up my calls after I left my apartment to let her know I was en route, I started to get worried. I had a spare key for emergencies, and at the time, it felt like the right thing to do. I stood in front of her apartment door, soup in hand, ready to be her knight in shining armor. The moment I opened the door, the first thing that hit me was the TV blasting loud enough to shake the walls. I frowned. Haley never kept the TV that loud, especially when she was sick. I crept quietly toward her bedroom, my footsteps soft on the carpet. I didn't want to wake her if she'd fallen asleep with the TV on. I pushed open the door gently, expecting to see her under the covers. But what I saw when I stepped inside made my blood run cold. There she was, my Haley, on her bed, not alone. She was with another man. My mind struggled to make sense of the scene in front of me. She was moaning, lost in the moment, not even noticing my presence in the doorway. My chest tightened, and a cold rage surged through me, burning hotter than anything I'd ever felt before. "Haley, how could you do this to me?" I yelled. It felt like the world slowed down around me. My thoughts scrambled, desperately trying to comprehend what was happening. But the images in front of me were too clear. The woman I'd trusted, the woman I thought I loved, was lying there in the arms of another man, and I stood there frozen, like an idiot. It was as if my feet were moving on their own, dragging me toward the bed like I was being pulled into the nightmare that was now my reality. I wanted to scream, to shout at her, to demand answers, but I couldn't. I couldn't get the words out. I wanted to scream, to break everything around me. The anger bubbled up from deep within me, but I just stood there, paralyzed, betrayed. I couldn't even process what was happening. Why? I finally managed to choke out, the words slipping past my lips like poison. "Why, Haley?" She sat up straighter, running a hand through her hair, completely unfazed. "You were always too busy. You didn't have time for me. I needed something more, something real." She glanced at the man, her eyes flicking back to me. "I'm sorry, Mark. I really am. But I had to do this. You wouldn't give me what I needed." I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. It was like someone had ripped out my heart, and I couldn't understand how it was still beating. The pain was overwhelming, suffocating, and I didn't know how to make it stop. Without saying another word, I turned and walked out of the room, out of the apartment. I left the soup on the kitchen counter. I didn't care anymore. I felt like everything I knew was shattering, like nothing was real. She was gone in a way that I couldn't undo. The woman I thought I knew had disappeared into something unrecognizable, without an ounce of care, kindness, or empathy. The days after were nothing but a blur. Haley texted me, called me, sent me endless messages. She begged for forgiveness. She said it was a mistake. But I couldn't bring myself to respond. Every time my phone buzzed, I felt the same sick feeling in my stomach. I thought I was done. I thought I could leave it all behind. But she turned crazy. Days turned into weeks, and she started showing up at my place. At first, it was at odd hours, lingering outside my window, watching me from across the street. Then it escalated. She'd knock on my door at midnight, her voice pleading, "Please, Mark." It wasn't a big deal. The desperation in her voice made me sick. It wasn't enough. None of it was. She had taken something from me that I could never get back. My trust, my love, my sense of self. Then one night I came home to find my world turned upside down. Rex, my dog, my loyal companion, was gone. I checked everywhere, through the house, the yard, the neighbors, but there was no sign of him. It wasn't until I checked the security footage that I realized the full extent of Haley's insanity. She had been back. She had taken Rex from me. I watched in disbelief as she climbed over the fence, her hands reaching out to coax my dog away. She had taken everything, and now she was taking my dog too. I drove to her in panic, demanding my dog back, but she claims she already sold him. I don't know what to do. She is absolutely insane. I'm going to start posting on socials and around the neighborhood about Rex to see if anyone saw him, or perhaps his new owners will see my plea. I am so tired, and that woman is absolutely insane.